Hello and welcome to the second update of the banker's final debt. The voting was very mixed for this update, but we have 5 new locations to visit. The first will be to H.R. Murray.
Excuse me, Mr. Murray.
Ah, Whitson, what can I do for you?
It's Watson, sir.
I don't believe I've ever worked on a case by the name of Watson.
No, I mean the name... Never mind. Well, then what about the Mason murder?
Mason, I know. It looks like he was killed by David.
David? You mean you know the murderer?
No, not the murderer. The murder weapon. This is David. It's a copy of a very early Michelangelo. You can see the blood stains here. I believe this was one of 2 statues on the fireplace mantel. Apparently, the intruder grabbed this one and killed Mason in the struggle. It's a handsome piece, isn't it?
The man appreciates his art. So the next location we will visit is... Nope, it will be to Lionel Foxcroft.
I understand you're looking into Oswald's death.
Yes, and I'd be interested to know who you think killed him.
I haven't the foggiest notion. He was a nice man, and I can't imagine anyone who would want to murder him.
I understand Mr. Mason was working on a special assignment at the Treasury.
Yes.
Do you suppose there's any connection to be found there?
Not likely. Very few people were even aware of Mason's involvement in the investigation.
Who were they?
To my knowledge, there were only 2, Sir Adrian Momquist of the Treasury and myself.
What was Mason working on?
It's rather complicated. To understand what was involved, you must understand that the history of the bank financially is, for all intents and purposes, nothing more than the history of the bank rate. And that's what this whole investigation is concerned with. Since the Bank Act of 1844...
Pardon me, Mr. Foxcroft. I do believe that's all we need to know. You have, however, been most informative.
Next up is Dahlia Farmer and Rose Mason.
We're terribly sorry about your loss, Mrs. Mason.
There, dear sister.
We know this may be difficult, but we need to hear about last night's events if we're to catch your husband's killer.
Yes, I know. Well, I was here last night for her weekly whist game.
She comes every Thursday.
Oswald stayed home and worked on some papers from the office.
The man had been working very hard lately.
Was he expecting visitors while you were gone?
No, I don't think so. I returned home at 10 o'clock and went into the study and... You tell him, Dahlia.
The place was in shambles. Furniture overturned, books strewn about, and in the middle of it all was
My poor Oswald!
Ghastly. Who could possibly have wanted to hurt him?
I can't imagine. He was the dearest man in all the world. Why, only last week he bought me a Venus de Milo replica for our anniversary and promised me a special trip. I imagine it was Paris because we went there on a honeymoon where we saw the original Venus. When I saw that statue broken into pieces,
I think that's quite enough for one day, Dr. Watson.
Of course.
These people love their statues. We are now going to visit Mabel Brown.
How can I help you, gentlemen?
We understand you were informed of Mr. Mason's death.
Yes. Mr. Kimball gave me the bad news this morning.
Can you think of any reason why anyone would want to murder Mr. Mason?
Oh, no. He was such a nice man. He was tremendously well liked by everyone at work. And he and Mrs. Mason have been so very kind to me ever since my husband died at sea 3 years ago. Why, they've almost been like a family to me. Last week for my birthday, they gave me a lovely little statue. Oh.
There, Mrs. Brown.
I'm sorry. I was just thinking about when I came home from work late last night. My little birthday statue had fallen onto the floor and was broken into bits. It was almost as if it was an omen.
Perhaps we should go, Holmes.
Good thinking, Watson.
I'm sorry, gentlemen. It's just that this is all so very difficult.
You told us quite enough, Mrs. Brown. We'll just show ourselves out.
Stiff upper lip.
So that makes 2 mysteriously smashed statues. These locations are working out in quite a nice order because we're now going to the Evenson and Co gift shop.
We're investigating the murder of Mr. Oswald Mason.
I can assure you, you'll not find any murderers here, sir.
Good heavens, if it were only that simple. No, you see, among Mr. Mason's papers was a receipt from this shop dated 31 March. Do you have a record of what he purchased?
Well, let me see. Ah, here you are. Well, the man did have a sense of the popular. He purchased 2 Venus de Milo statues. It appears we delivered them both for him.
Might you tell me where they were sent?
One to Rose Mason at his home address. The other to a Mabel Brown on Tottenham. Oh, do you suppose he was having a dalliance?
At this time I'm not supposing anything. By the way, I do so adore the Venus de Milo. I might be interested in purchasing one of my own.
Sorry, haven't a one. Sold the last 3 to another gentleman on Wednesday.
Pity.
Perhaps I can get more from the manufacturer.
Who might that be?
J. Small and Company. Have you heard of them?
The name does sound familiar, but I'm not sure. Thank you for your time, Mrs. Billingsley. Good day.
I'm surprised that Watson wasn't more interested in the man who bought 3 of them. Maybe it's not important. This case reminds me of one of the stories, which the name escapes me at this current moment in time. We're now going to send the irregulars to the Langham Hotel. Oh, Mrs. Hudson's in here. Anyway, that is it for the moment. Voting is now open again. I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.